Hi and welcome to this week's episode of Gridiron TV. I'm delighted to be joined again by the latest member of our team, Cecil Martin. Cecil, welcome back. How are you doing?
Thank you, man. It's great to be back.
Last time we saw you before, last episode, you were up in Inverness at the Bristol Academy and you've been travelling again. So can you tell us where you've been this week?
Yeah, no mega bus to Inverness this time, I tell you. We got a chance to spend some time, number one, out in Amsterdam with a guy named Wayne, and he has an organization called Top Score. And just, community football, grassroots youth football. Had a bunch of kids out there in the rain, in the cold, fired up, about 100 kids, and about 20 of them were girls. And so it was a great experience. And then we got a chance to go spend some time with Ben Harrod out there in Bristol at the Bristol Academy. He's creating the Bristol Academy Community League, BACL, about 100 and so kids there. Bristol Pride kids there showing leadership for the young kids. And the big thing about it for me was that the parents came, and a lot of the parents stayed to the end, and they were appreciative of the opportunity their kid was going to have in being a part of this new league.
Yeah, it's amazing to see these kind of community leagues develop, and we're going to be talking about that later in the show, as well as interviewing Ben Harrod to talk about the development of the league and the plans for the future. We'll also be talking about the University League itself and how the teams are doing now that they're approaching their Christmas break, who's on top and who's struggling to get going. But first of all, let's talk about the action that took place this weekend and the GB University trials that took place at Loughborough University. A two-day event, and we were delighted to attend at Gridiron TV. All the top student athletes from around the country attending, the northern universities on the Saturday and the southern universities on the Sunday. And we managed to catch up with several people, coaches and players actually taking part, to find out how they were doing, as well as capture some highlights for you, which we would like to show you now. On the 15th and 16th of December, over 200 student athletes descended on the quiet campus of Loughborough University with only one thing on their minds: the Great Britain University Trials.
I'm now joined by head coach of the GB Lions squad, Wayne Hill. Wayne, first off, I'd like to say congratulations for a great turnout by the players today.
Yeah, it's a good turnout today. Obviously, we're expecting another great turnout tomorrow. So there's one or two guys that have got injuries and have had to pull out of the squad, unfortunately. But yeah, it's a great turnout. We've had a lot of people working here today, and they work the coaches well.
You see the guys doing their drills throughout this morning session. Are you quite impressed with what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I think there's a variety of different standards out there. We're seeing that straight away. There's guys that we know can play ball and have that experience there, and there's guys that are going to be development guys for us. So the standard and the effort is there. They just need to get the kind of the technique right and ensure that they're listening and focusing throughout.
I mean, obviously, this is all about the big game in April against Sweden. I mean, Sweden have got a very good programme over there at the moment. Do you feel as if you've got the kind of nucleus of players here that you can actually go and compete and try and sneak a win?
Yeah, I mean, we think that there's players across the UK that have the capacity to do that, so that's why we're here and that's why the game's scheduled. It's a development process, the whole programme is. It's about taking those guys that are new to football in university or have played GB juniors, and then we can move them on to being able to compete at adult level in the future. So it is a development programme for us, but obviously we've got a game that we need to prepare for, and they're going to be a good, well-drilled team, and they're going to be very closely linked to their adult programme just as we are, so it's going to be good for us, and we do have the talent here. We just got to make sure that we're all on the same page and ready to play fast football.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Coach. Appreciate you taking time.
Cheers, thank you.
So we now finished the first half of today's session. How do you think it went this morning?
I think it's good. I think there's not a lot of mistakes, which is pretty important. Like, there's a lot of talent here, and a lot of guys competing at a very high level. It's making a coach's job really difficult.
Now you're trying out for GB Uni. You're also a member of the senior national squad, so you're used to this sort of tempo of workouts. What's it like for guys who've never been to a national trials like this or national level? What's it like for them the first time?
I think it's a step up, but at the same time, a lot of the players here are the best players from their teams. Especially in uni teams, you've got elite players along with some of the newer players and really low level. There's a really big contrast, which you don't sometimes have as much in the senior level. So coming here, it really brings the best out of all of those players, because they get to play with, for example, like we got like a elite D line, which you might not have at your own team. So having that makes you a better player just from being here.
Now, if you're obviously looking to be selected after this, if you are and you're able to go to Sweden, what will you be working on to make sure you're in the best shape possible for that game?
Just be in the gym over Christmas. I've already got my plans set out for Christmas. I mean, I'm training hard for Hurricanes anyway, so it's not like I'm going to be out of shape come that time anyway. Our intention is to be in the final, winning the final before that happens, so I'll be in the best shape possible.
Good. Well, let you have some lunch. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm actually pleased to be joined by Matt Sheldon. Matt Sheldon is an ex-NFL coach with the Vikings, the Bills and the Rams. So what have you made to today in seeing a glimpse of British athletes?
I'm impressed. I'm impressed at their enthusiasm. I'm impressed in their willingness to take coaching, to get better, especially fundamentally. And that's really a big part of what this camp is. And I think they do a good job identifying that these are good coaches and they can get better by coming.
I mean, obviously these players today, as Coach Sharrett just informed us, 75% of these kids will basically go away with no place in the team. However, what we've been hearing all weekend is they'll go away with better coaching skills, and they'll get feedback on how to improve.
That's correct. Our head coach mentioned that there's varying of coaching styles that are going on all over the country, and if they could take back one or two things back to their program, fundamentally that could help them. We feel like we succeeded.
I mean, are you going to be involved with the Great Britain Lions onward, or are you going to be just one-off for you this weekend?
I've just been invited over here from a long-time friend, and so far we just talked about doing this as a one-time thing, but I think the future of Great Britain football is in good hands with these guys, and I think the future looks bright.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate you taking time out. I know you're busy and you're going to be going back to do some video footage, but thanks very much for coming over and helping us out.
My pleasure, and just wanted to say best of luck to all you guys, and I think Great Britain football is on the way up.
Thank you, Coach. I'm now joined by Greg Freeman. Greg, obviously today was a massive day for you. You've come here to try and represent Great Britain. I mean, if one thing from today, what have you taken away that you've learnt?
Just that there's excellent players and coaches throughout the country. It's great that the North, in particular today, is represented by a phenomenal number of good quality athletes who've got good coaching and have come to really play and try and fight for their place, and that's probably the best thing that's come out of today.
I mean, obviously, what from today for you then? Obviously, you go back to your university side, but I mean, are you going to go back there and obviously tell the guys of your experiences today?
Yeah, there's plenty that can be taken back, plenty of new drills. The coaching staff, obviously, they're quite progressive here, so there's plenty of new drills which we've learnt, we can take back, we can explain, we can work amongst ourselves when we train aside from our own practices, and they'll be really useful for the future.
Also, when you found out you were coming here today, you were one of the chosen over 240 students allowed to come here. What did you do to try and improve your game over the coming weeks?
Oh, it's just about working hard during your season. I mean, it's been week on week. We've played 5 games already in the first half of the season, so there's not been that much time to focus on this as a specific event. But aside from the specific event, I mean, you're just working, you're training every week, you're just getting better, and then the day's a day.
Well, Dan, I wish you all the very best of luck. Fingers crossed you might see you in a GB's Lions jersey very soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome, great highlights, and I'm sure you'll agree, Cecil. It's really great to see all these talented athletes really going for it on an event like this.
Oh yeah, I mean, the first thing is Loughborough. What a great campus. First time I got a chance to meet some people involved in the football community here in the UK was at the British American Football Coaches Association meeting up in Loughborough. And so the one thing that really stands out for me in experiencing that and watching that film is that these kids were fired up. They were passionate about playing, and there's so much talent out there. And the big thing about getting an opportunity to be on an all-star team is that you get a chance to take your game to another level. You get a chance to go against guys who are maybe better than you, but at the end of the day, everybody is on a higher level than what they played during the year at, and then they'll get a chance to come together and play other teams who are at a high level as well. So it really does breed some competitiveness, and it really breeds development of the game and skills.
Yeah, I mean, right from the initial registration in the morning, they were telling them there was something like 300 or so applications, cut down to around 250 attending, and then that'll cut down further to around 60 that'll be selected for the actual team itself as they travel out to Sweden at the beginning of next year to actually play together. So I think a lot of heads really got switched on right then. And like you said, so much passion from the guys, but there was a mixture of sort of veteran guys in their sort of final years of uni that played for a number of years, and also younger guys that maybe in their first or second year. So I'm sure it must have been quite an eye-opener for them to come against these experienced guys, as well as guys they'd probably see in regular season action.
Yeah, it's almost like it reminds me of the days in playing Division I football and coming into the University University of Wisconsin. And you got guys who are 21 years old with 4 or 5 years of development physically and mentally for the game. And here you are fresh out of high school. But then even going to the NFL and playing with the Philadelphia Eagles, now you got guys who have been playing the game for 10, 15 years as a professional. And here you are coming in to potentially take their job, their livelihood. And so I think that it's similar, because I think these young guys against these older guys, it really does become an eye-opener and a shock. The great thing and the purity of this piece is that they're all university kids. They're all guys that are going to school. They are student athletes, student first, athletes second, and they're going after it for the love of the game, and they get a chance to play for a number of different years as long as they're at the university. So it's eye-opening, and there's some similarities, but at the end of the day, I love the fact that this university league is giving these kids a chance to be a part of something special like an all-star team.
Oh yeah, and we actually managed to speak to a few of them, and for anyone who's looked at the interviews that went up earlier in the week, they were talking to each other in huddles during drills, trying to learn from these experienced guys as well as listening to the coaches, and it's obviously a great chance for them to talk to the guys that they never get a chance and learn and develop. And for the guys that do make it through to the final selection, when when you get that letter or that email through to saying you've been selected for the national team, what kind of things do they then need to be doing? Obviously they're going to work out and so on, but what kind of things do they need to do you think?
Well, I think they need to communicate with their coach and see if they can get some of the philosophy and some of the breakdown of just the basics of the type of scheme that they're going to be running with. And then also they got to keep training. I mean, I know that's an obvious, but you continue to get better because you continue to train and force your body to continue to get better. I mean, so I think those are the two main things, the mental side of the game of what kind of scheme is going to be ran, and then to keep working out.
Yeah, well, we'll certainly be following them through their progress and keeping you guys updated as to who's making the team and also coming up to the game itself next year. But next on the show, let's talk about these guys in their regular season action. We're going to go through a roundup of the league tables at the moment, talk about the teams on top and the guys that are maybe struggling to get going this year. Well, now let's take a look at the league tables, and we'll start up north in the Saltire division, and we can see there Stirling dominating at the top, followed by Glasgow and the UWS Pyros, and then the two Edinburgh teams struggling to get going with the Predators ahead of their crosstown rivals, the Napier Knights. And now moving into the northeast, and the top of the table there is the Hull Sharks, one game ahead of Carnegie, and then Bradford winning recently against Newcastle. They take up the third spot, and then we've got the other Leeds team behind them, followed by Durham, Sunderland Spartans, and then the Northumbria Mustangs. And then the bottom three is the York Centurions, the Newcastle Raiders, and Teesside Cougars yet to get off the mark. Now moving into the big northwest, and we have the Derby Braves undefeated at the top, followed by another undefeated team, the Sheffield Sabres. And then behind them we have the UCLan, the University of Central Lancashire. In fourth place is Manchester Tyrants, followed by the Liverpool Fury. And then another Sheffield team, the Hallam Warriors. And then mid-table we have Staffordshire, Huddersfield, and the MMU Eagles. And the bottom two of the table here are the Bangor Mud Dogs and Lancaster. Now heading into the Midlands, and we can see Birmingham Lions, Loughborough Aces, both undefeated, number 1 and number 2. Following closely though is the NTU Renegades at 3 and 1. And then we have Northampton, Warwick, Coventry and Lincoln mid-table. And then popping up the table we have Nottingham, Leicester, DMU Falcons and Wolverhampton. Now moving into the southwest, and finalists from last year, the Bath Killer Bees are on top again, followed by the UWE Bullets. And then we have Plymouth Blitz and Gloucestershire in third and fourth. And then Bristol, Aberystwyth, Exeter, Swansea and Cardiff mid-table. And then Worcester and Bath Spa Bulldogs propping up at the bottom. And moving into the Thames Valley, we have Southampton, Bryden and Portsmouth taking those top 3 spots, followed by the Kingston Cougars, the BNU Buccaneers and Solent. Then we have Brunel Burners, Reading and the OBU Panthers. And then the bottom 3 is Oxford, the Bears and Surrey Stingers. And finishing off in the southeast, and we have the Hertfordshire Hurricanes on top, followed by the UEA Pirates and Kent Falcons. And then mid-table we have Cambridge, Anglia Ruskin, Imperial, Essex, Greenwich and Canterbury. And At the bottom of the table, we've got the Westminster Dragons, KCL Regents, and the LSBU Spartans. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at some of those top teams that are performing. Up north, we have Stirling. You mentioned them. You've seen them a few times, and they're doing well. Do you think they'll be have eyes on playoffs already?
Well, those Stirling guys, they've actually made a huge jump in their performance. And I've been hearing about some of the scores. They've been out of control. So I definitely think they're going to make a big run for it.
Yeah, and then northeast, we see Hull on top. They went quite deep into the season last year, so obviously they're taking some momentum from that, trying to go another step further and get into those finals.
Well, I look forward to getting down there and meeting up with those guys and seeing what they can do and actually hearing how they end up doing in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we'll just go down the list here. Derby, they had a pretty hefty win just recently. Plus 60, almost 70 points. So that's a great way to finish this first half of the season and, you know, send everyone home to Christmas on a bit of a high.
Well, a game like that definitely creates a lot of confidence on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and we were talking about the GB trials. A lot of guys that were there were featuring from the teams, Birmingham, Hertfordshire, those types, Portsmouth. So the big names are obviously on top of their respective leagues for a reason. Some really talented athletes in those teams.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is there's a lot of university teams, right? And I think that when you fill a roster and you fill these teams up with talented athletes, whether they're learning the game in the beginning or they've been around for a little while, to bring an all-star team together like this, oh man, it'll make the team all the better.
Yeah, and all these guys, they'll be heading home for Christmas now. So have a great Christmas and New Year, and no doubt you'll get some time to rest and then come back strong for the second half of the season. So don't go away. We'll be right back with your questions for Cecil. Well, welcome back, and we asked you earlier on to submit some questions for Cecil. So Cecil, what are your top picks for this week?
Well, one question came in was about the BCS National Championship game. We got Notre Dame going against Alabama, and people want to know, who do I think is going to win and why? Notre Dame is going to win because defense wins championships, and I'm more of a fan of Notre Dame than Alabama. But it's going to be a clash of the Titans. Part of that question also was, who do I think is going to go to the draft higher on both of those teams? Well, obviously, Teo, the linebacker for Notre Dame, I feel like he's going to go very high. He was number 2 in the Heisman voting. Heisman is given to the number 1 college football player. And then there's another guy by the name of A.J. McCurran. Yeah. And, you know, that quarterback, they don't know if he's going to come out early or not, but if he does come out early, best believe there's a lot of teams out there that would love a quality quarterback who's mobile and can throw. The next question, you know what the next question is, don't you?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people asking you questions like, you know, what's the next step for UK football? And what do we need to work on to develop the sport over here in the UK? So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, first off, the University League and these guys getting ready to play on this GB Uni team, I think it's unbelievable because these are guys that are going to continue to play, and some of them will actually end up coaching as well. And they will actually be passing on to the younger kids that passion and that tutelage of how to play the game the right way. So with that, the most important part of growth in the UK is youth, okay? It's the youth and it's the coaches. See, as we provide more coaching for the coaches and we provide more opportunities for the youth to play the game, whether it be flag football or throwing the pads on, guys and girls, I think that the development of American football in the UK will grow. And you know what? There's so much talent here from an athletic standpoint that those who are the cream of the crop will then have opportunities to even take their game to even higher levels. And who knows what that means? Division I, Division II, or Division III football in America. Who knows? Maybe it's starting for a university right here in the UK and continuing their education and their development as a football player and then getting an opportunity to go overseas. Who knows? Maybe an NFL team will spot a young man who has really worked his butt off and they see speed and power and quickness and technique to the point where they give them a shot. You know, sky's the limit, but it starts with the youth and the coaches, and I love the way we're supporting the university leagues in order to pass that down.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we were talking about earlier, youth, there's a number of youth teams popping up now, and also community leagues. And we'll get a chance to catch up with Ben Herod and the team down at the Bristol Academy Community League and see what Cecil was doing there and bring you some highlights from that.
Well, I'm now pleased to be joined by Ben Herod, head coach of the Bristol Academy Ben, thanks for joining us on the show.
It's great to be back. Thanks for having me.
Well, obviously, Ben, there's big things been happening in Bristol very recently, and you had our man Cecil Martin down at your college last week. Now, you seem to be starting this thing called the Bristol Academy Community League. Do you want to talk us through the reasons why you started that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we've been lucky enough to have a junior team in Bristol with the Aztecs for the best part of a decade, playing in the BAFA national leagues. Over the past couple of years, we've been training for an awful long period of time in order to play a very limited number of games, and also incur an awful lot of travelling to London and Cambridge and other places like that. Now, we decided during the off season at the Bristol Academy that we wanted to start a grassroots program of our own. And this meant kind of knocking the Aztecs on the head, at least for the short term while we're setting this up at junior level. And to gauge what kind of interest there was, if we set up something that was regional, that was very local, and we would dictate when the games were played and how many games each team got. And also, more importantly for me, working in education, we'd also dictate the time of year it was being done, so these kids wouldn't be playing and traveling such great distances during their exam periods.
Yeah.
So we put together a Facebook page to see what interest there was, and in the space of 6 weeks, we've had 189 kids sign up.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic. I mean, let's have a quick look at the teams you've got here just now. Now, you've got the Falcons, the Bobcats, the Gators, the Cowboys, and the Tomahawks.
Yeah.
Now, we spoke on the phone the other day, and you were saying it's actually full 11-man kitted.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, I mean, we were playing with different ideas to start with. Not really sure what the interest would be, but the interest has been so phenomenal that there's no reason we can't go 11 on 11 straight out the gate. Now, I wish I could take credit for the team names and all the nice uniforms that have been posted on Facebook, but that's actually from a former junior player that I coached, a kid called Tom Wallace, who's now graduated university and doing graphic design for a living, and he's really helped out a lot and putting a lot of his spare time to help kind of promote this league and make it very, very marketable.
And the thing is, as well, it doesn't just stop there as well. You've just given the job of commissioner to Shane Prosser as well. I mean, Shane Prosser's been a huge help to you guys, hasn't he, set this up?
Yeah, I mean, the Bristol Academy team, the Pride, we were really lucky this year that we could expand our coaching staff. So we hired in Shane and a guy called Dan Mayer, who's had NCAA experience out with Illinois College, both former Pride players for me. Now, Shane and Dan have both been a massive help with this, and Dan's got a large role to play yet within this league as well. We needed someone to kind of head this league up and be the face of it all, and Shane was the perfect person. He's really, really good with the social media side of things. He's come through our junior system and our youth systems and the academy, so he's also still young enough to remember what being a kid's all about. So he's making it really, really enjoyable for these guys and keeping them very, very interested whilst we're getting things off the ground.
Now, not only you've got a commissioner, you're actually doing it NFL style as well. You're actually going to be having drafts. Yeah.
We decided this year that our first year of Pride guys, our sophomores at the Bristol Academy, are actually young enough to play in our league, and rather than all kind of just go to one team and make that a team that would dominate the rest of them, we wanted to spread the talent out a little bit. So we decided that a fun way to do it would be to hold a draft. So within the office, myself and the other guys that are part of the staff in the background of the academy each kind of picked a team and then picked out the players that you wanted during the draft and held a proper draft. It was an awful lot of fun. The kids got a lot out of it as well. They enjoyed seeing where they were going and to which teams, and I know that it's all been welcomed by the kids that take a part in the league as well. Yeah,
I mean that's a key thing though, as you mentioned, the word fun. I mean, it's not all about go away, be serious in your training. Obviously, keep fit and healthy, but it's all about having fun and keeping the kids interested.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to do this as close to what they'll see on the television and try to make it as fun and as exciting for them. That's why the bright coloured uniforms, the great designed helmets, the NFL style drafts, the having a league commissioner, being so active on social media and as well as on this website. It's the kids are loving it. They're really buying into what we're doing. They can't wait for the practices, and with that whole kind of that fun tag, having Cecil Martin come to our launch was just phenomenal. We had 80 kids at this launch, which was tough to do. Bearing in mind it was a Tuesday night. It was quite late in the evening on a school night.
Yeah.
It wasn't at a central location, and we happened to pick a night that had freezing fog as well. So
always makes it interesting, then, doesn't it?
But you guys obviously at Gridiron TV know how great Cecil is with young men, and he had a phenomenal effect on those kids at the first practice, and the Facebook pages went crazy for the next couple of days. Photos of Cecil, videos of Cecil, still talking about the event, and for the first time ever involved in junior American football. And like I said, I've been involved for over a decade. We actually had parents stick around and watch. Where we train on an indoor facility, we've got a balcony, and there are at least 30 parents up there from those kids, which doesn't sound like a lot when you compare our sport with the American version of it, but the most we've had stick around before was one or two, and the feedback we got from them was fantastic.
But it's really important that the parents get to see, the kind of football education that the kids are actually getting, and showing the fact that they're safe and they're in a safe environment. So it helps them say, well, that's fine. I'm quite happy for my kid to come here, and then it's word of mouth as well, isn't it?
Yeah, ultimately these kids are going to rely on their parents to drive them to these practices and to the games, and also more than likely pay for everything that they need as well. So it is really important to get the buy-in from the parents. But that's why we made such a big deal of talking about education and the importance of education, and positive role models and other things like that. And like I said at the event, you really can't ask for a better role model for these kids than Cecil Martin.
Absolutely.
To give up his spare time. He was up with you guys during the day in Scotland, flew down to London, got on a train to Bristol, got to us, not more than half an hour before the practice starts. Did an interview, which hopefully you guys will see, Gridiron TV, with one of our media students, and then ran our practice. And it was as though he'd been rested for a week running into the practice. He was just upbeat, knew exactly what to say, got the kids all fired up, and he kept the practice running really well.
Now, Ben, let's change the subject now. Coming up in a couple of weeks, we have the FBU. Coming up in San Antonio. So how's obviously you've been head coach of Team Europe. How's preparations going for you, and what sort of stage are you at in regards to preparations at the moment?
Well, we had a slow couple of weeks because there was some potential problem with some IFAF sanctions that were looking like they were going to be passed down. But to my understanding now that's all been cleared up, and our team's ready to go. The last sort of week and a half has moved incredibly quickly, getting the playbooks out, making sure the kids are committed, and they've bought their plane tickets, sorting all the background sort of admin stuff out with help again of Cecil Martin and Steve Quinn at FBU, and really just kind of preparing for we've got one practice before we go out on the 22nd of December in Bristol, which I think 90% of the team are going to be at. And then we will all arrive in San Antonio, Texas for games against Mexico and then Canada on the 30th of December.
All right, okay, so it's as soon as that then. So New Year's Eve will be knocked on the head then, I take it.
Certainly won't for me. I'm getting up in the morning, so I got no chance. If I can't get to a practice, I can't very well expect the kids to either. So
absolutely, but all joking aside, it's quite a serious thing here, and it's just amazing at the fact that we've got British players involved. Obviously I've spoken to Alex Jenkins recently. Now he's heading out to the University of the Incarnate Word as well, in the next week or so, to start his Division 1 college career. Now it's just absolutely amazing that we can just see something like this pick up so quickly.
Yeah.
And the level of opposition they're up against, the quality is phenomenal.
Yeah, I've had a look at the Canadian team. I haven't seen much on the Mexican team yet, but the Canadian team that we're facing from BC is looking very, very good. They've got a lot of players within that team that I mean, it's classed as 3A high school football. A lot of players that would look like they could be playing for much bigger high schools. You know, they've got some very talented kids there, and that'll be a great test for our guys. I mean, like you mentioned, we've got Alex Jenkins, who's just going to stay out there, playing the game for us, and then we actually train at the university facility of of UAW where he's going. It gives him a chance to get kind of bedded in for their coaches to see him in action before he transfers over completely. We've also got other kids on our roster. I know that Thomas Campbell, who's another kid I coach in Bristol, who's part of Pride last couple of years, and the Great Britain program as well. It looks as though he's got some serious Division 3 interest.
Fantastic.
So he may well be out there as well before too long.
It's all good. I mean, and as I said to Alex recently as well, and I've said to even Grant Isdale, and any other young player I've spoken to, the only person stopping is you. Bearing in mind, Alex only took the game over a year ago.
Yeah, and actually, a trip around Europe, that's not uncommon. Because of the state of grassroots football in Europe in general, to be fair, not just in this country, but because of all the resources and all the money does tend to go into the adult side of things. Or the university side of things, and grassroots, especially the younger age groups, do get left behind a little bit. Most kids start the game up around the age of sort of 18. Which is why it's so tough for them to get a scholarship out to the States, because they're just so many years behind their counterparts in the US at that point. They have to be phenomenally gifted athletes like Alex in order to get the opportunity.
And that's it. I mean, it's up to yourself to ensure that you keep in that physical shape and attend practices. And so if any young player listening to this interview on this week's show, what would you say to them, and how do they then get to that level where Alex is at the moment?
Well, I mean, it's like you said, it's no secret. I mean, Alex isn't one of these kids that goes out on a Saturday night and gets hammered and then doesn't turn up to practice on a Sunday. He wasn't part of the Pride. He was part of the Aztecs Junior program, so he was only training sort of once a week to start with. We did bring him in and allow him to train with our squad at the academy after a while, but he goes to the gym an awful lot.
Yeah.
Extra running. He does extra footwork. You've seen his videos up on.
I have, yeah.
People can comment about the technique all they want, but he's off his own back trying to make this happen. And he's also doing an awful lot of additional, like I said, additional practices for football, an awful lot of additional weight sessions, the sprinting. He's not leaving up to chance. He's doing everything possible to make it happen.
Good. Well, look, Ben, I'd like to wish you all the best, obviously, with the Communities League. It sounds a fantastic blueprint that you've put together for certainly hope for the future of British junior football, and certainly all the very best of luck in San Antonio for the FBU event.
Brilliant. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, mate. Look, all the best and good luck.
Well, thank you very much to Ben Herod there. Now, Cecil, tell us your view of this event. It was an amazing idea, the community leagues, and it looked like an amazing day.
It was an amazing day. And let me start off by saying that last year I came up right around the same time and we did an event outside. And so this year, with a focus on youth, with a focus on Bristol Academy Community League, this focusing on young people playing the game, helping them get better, was even better. We were inside. We had about 100 kids there. Some had played some kind of football. A lot hadn't played football at all. And then we had a lot of the Bristol Pride kids there as leaders and helpful coaches, as well as participating in it. There was a lot of energy. There was a lot of enthusiasm. I think there was a lot of curiosity as well, as far as what is this all about. And I think the best part for me, and I talked about it earlier, was that the parents stayed and they appreciated the time that we spent with the kids. I saw a lot of athleticism. Again, this wasn't about throwing on pads and running into each other or tackling or anything like that. It was all about exposing them to some of the nuances of technique and movement. And I think they had a good time at the same point, because this is about having fun. It's still a game, right? It's still a game. And so I think they had a good time. And I think some kids really got more inspired to continue giving it a shot. And that's all we're looking for. Kids that want to participate, kids that want to be a part of it. And, you know, Ben Harrod has done an unbelievable job with his staff, with the support of Bristol Academy as well. You know, you can't talk about how important guys like that is to different communities around the UK, and having that support from a college or an institution that's willing to step up and say, hey, we're going to support what your vision is. We're going to support what your passion is, because as long as it's about helping young people, then that's what we're about. So it was unbelievable to be a part of that.
Yeah, just like your last time in Inverness, you had kids that never played the sport before, just came along for the curiosity, like you said, and the same again here. So that's really the key for getting these things going, is getting guys who know nothing about the sport, completely brand new to it, and then getting them hooked on it, and then hopefully they'll stick with it for years and years to come.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed also is when you would see a kid who displayed a little bit more athleticism and coordination, I'd ask the young person, do you play another sport? And they would tell me, well, I play football or soccer or I play rugby. And so I think, playing American football isn't to be exclusive of playing other sports. I played football, basketball, and track all 4 years in high school. I did baseball. I did football, soccer. I did volleyball. So I think it's all about kids just getting exposed to different things that's positive and productive. And it was fun to see that. Kids who have never played the game and kids who have played other sports and given it a shot.
Yeah, well, let's actually take a look at some highlights from the event right now.
1, 2, 3, BACL! Now, this BACL, this Bristol Academy Community League, is something you guys can take ownership of. All of you together are going to get an opportunity to be pioneers of starting something special. And let me tell you what I know. I know each and every one of you guys out here is special. Each and every one of you guys out here has something great to do. I want you to believe in yourself and believe in the possibility if you do the right thing. Work as hard as you can, you focus and persevere. So I want you guys to know this isn't just about playing a game. It's about understanding the game of life. So you can have fun going after with everything you got. Is it a good night? Is it a great night? Great night! Great night, guys. It is a great night.
I'm so excited to be here in Bristol to support the next Bristol Community Football League. A bunch of young men coming out to learn the game, play the game, come together, and in an academic environment where this university and this college supports so many young people in a positive way. Bringing everybody together is just unbelievable. So it's fun to be here. We're going to have some fun. We're going to get a training session in. Going to get a chance to talk to the guys a little bit, encourage them to become a part of the league, support the league, and then go from there.
As you can see there, fantastic event, so much energy like you said, and we really hope that goes well and that it continues to develop and those teams start to gel and get some really exciting games between them. Speaking of Bristol, we've a lot of talk of guys down there going to FBU, and that's coming up in January. That's the next thing before university comes back. So how are things going for Team Europe right now?
Oh, it's great. I mean, we got a group of great young men from all over Europe, and quite a few from Bristol, all set and ready to rock and roll to get down to San Antonio for Bowl Week and be a part of the festivities, be a part of the experience, and then play some other teams. So I think all the kids, bearing in mind that obviously there's been some things that have gone on that have caused us all to kind of step back and really appreciate where we are and look at, okay, what is the next step and what's the best way to proceed. And with that, the kids have said, let's go after it. You know, let's enjoy this and let's all come together. And so we got a great group of young people. So the planning is going great. And I think everyone in America is anticipating the Europeans coming over, anticipating the kids from the UK coming over and Canada and other places. And so I think that this UK team or this European team, I think they're excited to show the world that they have more talent than maybe people think.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk going on now in the US about recognition of UK and European players. You've got some going to the NFL and then others going into college as well. So, like you said, I'm sure they've got an eye on a few of the European players, just making sure that no surprises in store for them. And there's no doubt it's going to be an incredible event. And but good luck to them. Hopefully they make it through all the way to the end. Well, thank you very much to everyone that's been on the show this week, to Ben Herod and the rest of the Community League, to all of our interviewees from the Great Britain Trials, and also to you, Cecil. Some great answers to the questions there.
Thank you.
As always, you can get in touch with the show. You can start off by going to our Facebook page, which is Gridiron TV.
And then you can find us on Twitter at Gridiron_TV. And you can follow me on Twitter as well at Cecil Martin 1.
You can also email the show with any questions, suggestions, or if you want to get involved, you can email us at info@gridirontv.co.uk.
Or you can come to our website at gridirontv.co.uk. Again, www.gridirontv.co.uk, no underscore.
And before we leave tonight, last week, Cecil, we asked you to name a town in the UK, so we'll try and get you up to speed with a few different locations that's maybe not so popular on the map.
I appreciate that, man. You know, I have a hard time when I'm on Sky trying to pronounce some of these communities, so I appreciate that. What you got for me? I'm ready.
We've got a tricky one for you before Christmas, so
okay.
Prepare for you. We've got it written down here under the desk, so let's give you a shot at it first, and then I'll let everyone know what the town is, and then we'll have another go at it.
All right. I think the pronunciation here is Aclapchahan. Aclapchan.
You got that, everyone? Okay. The correct answer is the Scottish town of Ecclefechan.
Ecclefechan. Ecclefechan.
There we go.
Good old town of Ecclefechan. Oh, man. You know, I have heard about that town. You know, they say what happens in Ecclefechan stays in Ecclefechan.
Sure does.
I don't know if you ever heard that. But,
well, yeah. Luckily there's no football teams there, so we won't mention it too many times.
Well, we got to work on that. We got to get a team out there in Ecclefechan. The Ecclefechan Falcons. How about that? Say that 3 times.
So thank you very much for watching throughout 2012. We wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We'll see you in 2013. But thank you to all the guests that have been on the show throughout the years. Too many to count right now. And thank you to all the teams that have supported us so far. We'll continue to grow and bring you even better action next year. And I want to wish each and every one of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you for following us here, joining us here. Thank you for watching the Sky Show, and continued success and development in your communities. Peace and God bless. Thank you and goodbye.